sometimes I'm tempted to bring out a stack of messages and read off the places, really what I would call the far-flung corners of the earth, sometimes leaving me scratching my head. As I said, it's mind-boggling to me, but that's what God does. Somehow somebody in Colombia and somebody in Spain and somebody, I'm just reading these messages, I'm baffled, but not baffled at the same time. You have to pardon my going both ways here. So it's quite amazing what God is doing, and I keep telling people, do not listen to what you are being fed through the media. There are abundant articles of people telling you that Christianity's dead, it's dying, people are losing faith. Let me ask you a question. Who is reporting this, and who's polling this, and who's asking this? Yes, there are churches that have closed, we know this. COVID was a primary suspect involved in many of those closures where people just buckled down to local, we'll call it enforcement policies, which we did not, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Come and arrest me. What are you going to do about it? But the point is that, yes, there were a lot of churches that suffered, and there are a lot of people, by the way, who are influenced. They read the news and they're influenced. Oh, gee, that's happening. Now, if I was reading those same articles, I'd actually be more fortified to get out and tell people, be strengthened in the faith, keep going, keep pressing forward, not, oh, I'm scared. And for those of you who want to know, that we have an abundant amount of people who are in that state right now. I brought this message out deliberately for this. I won't even say where this message is from. It's a local California message, that's all I'll say. And the reason why I'm not saying that, there are no numbers attached to this, but the place, the city from which this comes, I can speculate who this might be, because I know most of the families in this church for decades now. Somebody that said, I used to watch when I was very young, now I don't know what's real anymore. Well, let me tell you something, friend. What's real, the realest thing you're going to find is the thing that hasn't changed. Everything else is changing. The one thing that has not changed, the one person that has not changed is God. And in a sea of what I would call propagandists, with everybody's got a motive. I'm sorry, you may say, wow, pastor's gone off the deep end. Everybody has an agenda, whether it's political, whether it's motivated to get your money or to get you to stand in line for some medicinal purpose. Whatever that is, there's an agenda now. We are no longer living in the same country we were living in 5 or 10 years ago. So do not be deceived. Just as Paul says, God is not mocked. And for those people who think, I don't know what to think anymore, I'm going to be blunt and honest with you. I, as your pastor and as a person who reads and studies, and I'm not in the state of I don't know what to believe anymore. It's that I don't believe anything anymore except for what's in this book. I'm not. So, and I thank God for your response as well, because that tells me you're on the same page with me. There's an effort to confuse people and to turn people away and to turn you and I into people who have nothing. No guns, no constitution, no faith. Basically, a person wiped clean of their identity. And I'm sorry, I've told you this before, and some of you may not like this. If that's what's the agenda, I will not go quietly, because there's too many people who just go along and they just, well, there's nothing I can do about it. You're not going to get that from me. And I'm a firm believer, this is the time. Our faith is what gives us strength. This is the time to say, we will not be moved. I know the late Dr. Gene Scott used to make jokes, light a stick of dynamite and try to sing the song, I shall not be moved. But there is a time and place to say, I shall not be moved. No government, no power other than the power of God. And maybe I am more leaning that way, more so than ever in my life, as I see people getting confused, like that young individual. That means you need God more than ever. That means you need a place, and whether, I've said this before, so just pay attention to this, whether you listen to me or you listen to somebody else, Find someone who will guide you in the truth of this word, not societal junk, not everything that's going on. The world will be the world. The world has hated Christians since the beginning of time. Do not think that's new. That's not a revelation. While people are saying, oh, the war against Christians. Are you kidding me? Go read church history. There is a long, long, long line of persecution for the Christians. We're just now seeing this wave in this country, which we never saw before. We've enjoyed the great freedom of America, but America's changing and adopting much of the policies and mindsets of globalism, which is very much into anti-Christ. So if you understand that message, understand this, there is nothing to fear if one is standing by the stuff and saying, I shall not be moved, means I'm going to stay and stand on that rock, Jesus Christ. And guess what? If the rock, I'm not talking about Christ, but the place I've chosen to put my feet happens to implode, I have stood by faith, trusting in that which I know has not changed. Try that on for size while you're busy trying to figure out, what am I supposed to do? I just told you what to do. It doesn't solve the destructive methodisms of the world. It only solves one thing for you and for me. That's peace inside the mind, being able to function in a very corrupt universe. Sorry to say it, but that's the way it is, and that's why I said, for those of you that say, I'm confused, I'm scared, you need God now more than ever. And it's imperative to find someone who will guide you in the truth, not in all the social issues out there. So if you're tuned in by accident today, it's a good accident. I hope you stay tuned.
This house, magnify the Lord, lift up holy hands, our hearts in one accord.